So in our previous post, we talked about consuming XML data using Xcelsius using the XML Data Connection. In this blog post and video, I'm going to show you how to consume XML data that's not necessarily in that Xcelsius friendly format that you would normally consume through the XML Data Connection. So for example, I have a RSS feed from Netflix that has the recently added movies to be able to be streamed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a Xcelsius component that actually consumes this data. So notice that it's not in that friendly format that you saw in the previous post, and I'll provide a link to that. So to do that, all you really need is the link to the RSS feed. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and I'll minimize this window. What you'll do now is you'll actually start this process inside of Excel. You don't want to start this process inside of Xcelsius. You actually can if you have the toolbars enabled, but let's pretend that you don't at first. So open up Excel, not Xcelsius, and what you want to do is just go to File, Open, and paste in the RSS feed URL or the URL to the XML data that you are looking to use, and hit Open. And it'll take a few seconds, and what it'll do is it'll actually start loading some of that XML formatting and then ask you what do you want to do with it. So I'm going to select use the XML source task pane, and I'll hit OK. And this is just telling you that it doesn't have a schema, and just hit OK. I'll let Office create one for me. Just drag this toolbar up because you will need this. And now if you notice over here to the right is the elements of inside of that RSS feed. Now if you're not sure what you want, you can go back to IE and try to find what you're looking for. So notice that inside of channel there's an item with a title and a link, and that's what we're going to use for this. So notice channel, there's an item, not this title and link. We want to go to channel, item, title, link, channel, item, title, link. So let me minimize this again. So I want to grab the title. This is the name of the movie, and this is the link to the movie. Now notice you can't see anything yet, and that's where this bar comes in handy. So just to preview the data, what you want to do is click on this refresh XML data. It's like a little globe with an exclamation point. So I'll hit that, and it'll actually go out and read this RSS feed, and it'll bring back a bunch of the movies. So at this point, I'm actually done with this Excel workbook. So the first thing I need to do is I need to save it. So save as. I'll put it on my desktop for right now, and I'll call it Netflix. And at that point, you can close Excel. So notice I already have Xcelsius open. The first step that you're going to want to do is import that data into your spreadsheet. So what I will do is I will go to Data, Import. Just say yes, I know I'm going to overwrite everything that's in my sheet. I'm going to go to my desktop where I saved that Netflix file and hit Open. And give it a second, it'll actually import that data that I've done. And I'm going to drag my list bar down here again because might want to use that. Now I already have this file here configured to do some work for me. So I've got a table here with a URL button. And what I've done is I've configured the table to read the first 10 titles from movies from this list and put the title in the URL. And then when I select the title, what will happen is it will also then populate the URL into this button. So that when I click the button, it'll open an IE. So if I preview this, there you go. I have what I'm looking for. I have the titles and I have the links. And notice All About Eve is now in my button. So if I was to click that, that would open in IE. Or actually, in this case, Chrome, because that's my default browser. However, right now this XML data is static. So as this RSS feed gets updated, my data in my Xcelsius sheet here is not going to change unless I do something about that. So what I'll do is I'll go up to my Manage Connections, and I'll go to Add And notice I'll select this Excel XML Maps. So I'm going to connect to this, and it's going to kind of detect all the maps available. So it's going to populate the one that I'm using right now, and go to usage, and I'm going to say refresh this when components are loaded. And you can actually tell it to refresh every so many seconds. If you have an RSS feed or an XML file, that's going to be updated often. However, this is coming from Netflix, so it's not going to be updated, often, maybe every day or twice a day. So I'm not going to select refresh every 5 seconds. And I'm going to hit close. And what I'll do is hit preview again. So this doesn't look any different than it did before because my data is still the same. However, it actually is live, and that's how you would do it if you have a dynamic XML link that provides you with data that changes so very often. In this case, it changes probably once a day, which is fine. So the next time somebody comes into my dashboard and opens it, they'll get the latest 25, or in this case, the latest 10 titles added to Netflix streaming versus All About Eve and the ones that are up there right now. So if I go ahead, I'll click on Fletch, a good Chevy Chase movie, and click on the URL button. What will happen is that URL will open in my Chrome browser, and it'll take me to the Fletch movie. So that's it for consuming the XML data. It's that easy. Sometimes you just have to start things inside of Excel. However, if you were to go into Excel and start showing this list bar here by default, you won't actually have to start this process inside of Excel. But sometimes it's actually easier just to do that. So this is another way you can consume XML data. It doesn't have to be in the standard Xcelsius format that it likes, and it works out well as long as you set up your data connection to refresh the XML on the appropriate time. You can also add a button so that it refreshes it when it needs to. So that's how you do that.